Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. I want to point out some things I saw from the Spurs versus Thunder game, and basically Russell Westbrook, like I've been saying for the longest time, is not a point guard. It's decision making, it's subtle differences I'm going to show you in HD, and believe me, I think you're going to be convinced by the end of this breakdown. But you also have to go to bballbreakdown.com to read the companion article because we have some extremely compelling evidence as to why a guy who's such a high volume point guard shooter will never win a championship. But before I get to Russell Westbrook, let me point out a couple players I like on the Spurs. I wanted to talk about Kawhi Leonard and his good three-point shooting, but watch how bad Kevin Durant is in this defense. He runs straight into Tim Duncan on that cut, leaving him wide open for the three. As a 37% three-point shooter, Kawhi Leonard has been really benefiting from Tony Parker's penetration and kicking out to the three-point line. The penetration not only gets him three-pointers, but gets him offensive rebounds as well. Watch how bad Kevin Durant is at picking up his man and boxing out, though. But Leonard gets almost 2 a game. Let's talk Danny Green and his emergence. There's so much side-to-side action here, they forget to pick him up. He's shooting a whopping 41.5% from 3. And he's not just a three-point shooter, he can be the backup point guard, gets them in their offense, and has a variety of moves with his athleticism to get to the basket. Here's a one-footed runner. And let's talk about one of my favorite players, James Harden. He can break you down off the dribble, take a screen, and just nail threes. He really has a complete game because not only is he a good shooter, he can drive, he can cut, he can finish at the rim, and he can pass. Here's a nice cut off a high post and a good roll in traffic. The key word for Harden is under control. Watch him use the screen twice and pull up nice and easy for an 18-footer. And if you don't find him in transition, he will spot up at that three-point line and knock it down all day. One word on the Spurs' preparation and great team defense, they scout the play and they take away the pass to Sefolosha, so he has to come out way high on the perimeter. While he's busy dribbling around the wing, he misses Durant in the post, who now has to catch the ball much farther than he's used to out on the wing. And then when he gets the ball, you'll see Danny Green bump the cutter all the way through the lane. Everybody else is in position to help out on Durant. And when he drives, they can collapse, forcing the only guy that Spurs want to shoot, Sefolosha, into a tough drive. And there's Tim Duncan blocking the shot. So let's get down to the man of the hour, Russell Westbrook. Now, I want you to know that it's not just the offense that's a problem. There are lots of issues he has with defense, primarily because I suppose he didn't spend enough time at UCLA under Ben Howland. After his man Tony Parker passes the ball to the top, he should move away from him and give him space. Instead, he's stuck to him, gets run right into that screen because he's not aware, doesn't see Sefolosha switch onto his man, and here comes Danny Green on the reverse, who is a deadly three-point shooter, gets it wide open. You've heard me talk about helping when your man is one pass away, and here it is again. Collison should be helping out a little bit, but not Westbrook. Gets it right back and nails a jumper. And you've also heard me talking about going underneath a screen on a good shooter. Well, watch Russell Westbrook go underneath this Tim Duncan screen against one of the best shooters in the NBA from behind the arc. And on this pick and roll, I want you to see how he kind of hurls himself on the other side of that screen, completely off balance and out of control. And of course, Tony Parker's going to cross over and get the and one to the basket. Let's talk about some things that are a little bit more subtle on offense. Here he goes to the basket out of control. There really isn't any contact, yet he lands in the stands. He doesn't even make it back into the picture for this possession, and the Spurs are more than happy to go 5-on-4. There's Kawhi Leonard with his offensive rebound and putback again, and then you'll see Russell Westbrook get in there arguing with the refs. He's still arguing with the refs on the next play down to the point where he's not even engaged in the play while it's going on. He's busy yapping at the referee. This is not the kind of behavior you want from a point guard. And how about this? Sideline out of bounds. Clearly they're going to run a play where Harden's going to get a screen and run a little two-man action. Instead, he torpedoes the play, gets stuck up in the air on the drive, and then takes the worst shot in basketball with his foot on the three-point line. He misses, comes running into pressure. Now he's out of position, and he's forced his teammates to try and cover for him, and that means that Collison has to come out and guard the three-point shooter. He's wide open, and they get a three-point ball, all because of a bad shot, and he wants to try and pressure and get a steal in the backcourt against a good team. Westbrook has to lead the league in bringing the ball up himself and then shooting it without passing. Here, he tries to take advantage of Tony Parker in the post, but he doesn't have the vision to see that Tim Duncan is right there coming over to block that shot. And I don't want to make it seem like he can't score. Dude's averaging 25 a game, but it's decision making that's a problem. Here he gets a double team and should make a pass that could then lead to a Harden isolation on top. Instead, he comes right back, but then he hits the shot. And here he'll throw himself full throttle out of control at the basket, and he does get calls and gets free throws. His best drives are when he starts away from the ball, gets a screen on the weak side, curls around, and then gets to the basket. At some point, someone must have said, you're out of control, you got to learn how to pull up and hit a jump shot. And he can do that, but he's very streaky, and notice how there's never anybody under the basket for rebounds after he shoots it. And let's look at the misses. Almost all of his shots come early in the shot clock without the defense having to work at all. There's almost never anybody under the basket, and even still, when he shoots it and misses, they're usually such hard bricks that there's no chance for an offensive rebound. Look at that. And he doesn't seem to understand when the good time is to pull up and shoot that shot. For instance, the Spurs are on a huge run, they need a basket, he's already missed a bunch, and there's a really fast pull-up with no rebounding possibilities. Here's a rare example of him reading the defense correctly and getting all the way to the basket for an and one instead of pulling up. Looking at his shot, it's a little funky on the way up, but certainly here he's staring at the ball instead of the rim. You gotta be laser focused on your target. He makes the basket, gets a steal even, but can't control himself, is out of control on the barreling to the basket, knocks the guy over, and it's a turnover and an offensive charge. Now let's talk situations. The Thunder have finally gotten back in this game, get a great stop, come down and throw a skip pass to Westbrook. Here's a chance to run something really good. Instead, he's going to pull up for a three-pointer with all his teammates above the free throw line early in the shot clock. Awful! While Durant shot poorly for the game, he came alive in the fourth quarter, hitting a variety of shots of difficulty that only Durant can do. Instead of using the stretch run to work shots for Durant or Harden, who is shooting great, he barrels to the basket and tries to get a shot off and barely misses. He swipes at it, yells at the referees, and that slows him down so much that Durant has to guard his man Kawhi Leonard, and now the defense is out of position. It doesn't kill them, but however, watch what Westbrook does on that loose ball. He ends up walking all the way into the half court and jogs back to the man that he needs to cover, who is a great three-point shooter. They escape without the Spurs scoring, and here comes Durant coast to coast for a beautiful layup. The difference with Harden bringing the ball up is that if they run screen and roll for him, he's so much taller and longer than Westbrook, he doesn't get that shot blocked by Duncan. But again, no passing in the offense. Here comes Westbrook, who gets into the lane, which you'd think would be better, but he shoots worse in the lane than he does from 16 to 23. But he makes that fadeaway out of control, and then he comes back down and pulls up from about 15-16 and makes that one. So they're in it, and he's doing okay, balancing out the bad plays. But now we're talking crunch time, and it appears that Brooks calls this play, but he jacks up a 21-footer with no passing early in the shot clock? Come on. But it gets worse. Harden is going to try and get something to happen on a pick and roll, and wisely brings it back out because the defense is in position. There's still plenty of time on the clock, but there's Westbrook going barreling at the basket and then pulls up for a three? What? And now they're down by 5, force a tough basket by Duncan that misses, and they're out on the break, and instead of trying to find the shooters or the scorers, he barrels to the basket, misses Royal Ivy, who was hot this game, and it takes James Harden on a nice rebound and a beautiful skip pass to get the 3 by Durant. I can't blame Scott Brooks for not doubling Duncan. He doesn't really command a double team, especially against Ibaka in the post. But Duncan still has it every now and then, and watch this move because it's brilliant. As he's coming back to the baseline, he does a slight hesitation to his left, just enough to get the arm over his shoulder, and he scores the and one. Then I'll give 60-40 blame on Westbrook for not coming to the ball, and there is Danny Green, very opportune steal and dunk to almost finish the game, and then here comes Westbrook barreling to the basket again, not working off his teammates, travels, no call, but gets blocked. So there you have it, sports fans. As a coach, when I watch a point guard, and remember, this is a point guard, other players in other positions who don't bring the ball up might take a lot of shots, and that's okay for a winning recipe. Michael Jordan certainly did it. But when you have a position like the point guard who needs to be like a bartender, he's got to serve up the drinks, he's got to listen to the stories, he's got to be a psychiatrist and everything all in one. what Russell Westbrook does not have the mentality for it. He gets angry at the refs. He stews over bad play. He can't let things go. He gets mad at his teammates. So there's no way in my mind that the OKC Thunder will ever win a championship with Russell Westbrook at the point guard. But bump him down to shooting guard, let someone else play point guard like Reggie Jackson, or if Eric Maynard gets back. Those are the guys that will get them running better stuff, and they'll have a better chance of winning. Well, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit up the bballbreakdown.com site because we have a great article about why high-volume point guard shooters don't win championships. And don't forget, get in on the conversation. Let us know what you think. And don't forget that at B-Ball Breakdown, it's not a channel, it's a conversation. You in?